All right, let's do number 18. This one can be kind of tricky, and the conclusion you're trying to get, the main operator is a disjunction, or V, but remember, by material implication, a disjunction can be equivalent to a conditional. So equivalent to the disjunction right here would be, by material implication, would be if S, then if T, then not T, then O. By material implication, right? That's equivalent to that. So if we could get this, then we could just use material implication to get our conclusion. This is a conditional, so a good strategy is going to be to do a conditional proof, right? So we'll assume, so we're going to try to get this conditional, if T, then not T, then O. And so our first line needs to be S, and our last line needs to be this whole thing. So it's going to be if T, then not T, then O. Okay. How would we get this? Well, notice that this also is a conditional. That's the main operator, right? So a good strategy for getting a conditional is conditional proof. So we could do a conditional proof within a conditional proof. We could do, so we'll set up a box like this, that's our strategy, and we write the left side of the arrow as our first line, and the right side of the arrow is our last line. And somehow we need to get that. So that makes things a lot easier if you follow that kind of strategy. When you need to prove a conditional, do a conditional proof. And then at any point, not just the conclusion, but also in between, you might need to prove a conditional. So assume the antecedent, the left side of the arrow, and try to get the right side of the arrow. And that'll make things a lot easier because now you have a lot more things to work with. You have S to work with, you have if T then not T, you have that to work with. So let's try to do that. So we just mapped out our strategy. So following our strategy, we're going to assume S, assume for conditional proof, and then we're going to assume this, a box within a box. If T, then not T, assume for conditional proof. And now within this box, right, our strategy is we're going to try to get an O at the bottom of this inner box. How can we do that? Well, now we have a few things to work with. We can work with our original premises, and we can work with these two lines as well. The first thing that jumps out at me is line 1 and line 3. That immediately strikes me as a case of modus ponens could be used, which might help us. Let's do that. 1 to 3 modus ponens. That's going to give us if not T, then U. Okay. What else? You might see that with 4 and 5, you could do hypothetical syllogism, perhaps. That might be good. Another one, notice you have in line 4 something really weird. If T, then not T. Well, that implies a contradiction. That's really weird. And when you see something like this, a conditional, which starts with something and ends with a negation of the same thing, this is a very cool trick. You use material implication on that conditional, and that's going to give you not T or not T. And then you can use redundancy on that disjunction to get not T, which can be very helpful because you just get something much more simpler that you could use. The simpler the thing, often the more useful it is. With not T, if you look at line 2, you could do modus ponens with that. So 2 and 7 modus ponens. And that's going to give us this. If you, then O. Okay. Now, what were we trying to get inside this box? We were trying to get O all by itself. That's our strategy. So how can we get O? Well, it'd be nice to get U, because with U, we could just do modus ponens to get O. So we might write that down as something nice to get. We'd like to get U, right? That's something else we'd like to get. How can we get U? Well, look what else we already have. We have this, line 5. And so if we had not T, we could do modus ponens to get U. But look, we actually do have not T. So let's go ahead and do that. 5 and 7 modus ponens gives us U. And then 8 and 9 together by modus ponens is going to give us O. And that was what we said what our strategy was. We were trying to get O. And we said if we did that, we could get this line by conditional proof. So let's write that. Close our box. We got what we wanted from this assumption. You write the first line inside our box. Arrow, last line inside our box. And that's 4 through 10 conditional proof. Good. And now, according to our strategy, we have exactly what we are looking for to end our outer box. If S, then this whole thing. If S, then this whole thing. So let's go ahead and close our outer box, and that gives us if S, then we use brackets so we're clear. If T, then not T, then O, close brackets. And that's line 3 to 11, conditional proof. Now we're almost there, trying to get this disjunction. Remember our strategy. We realized that this statement by material implication is going to be the same as our disjunction here. So that means we can do 12 material implication, and we get not S or instead of an if then, if T then not T, then O. And there we have it. We've gotten it. We had to do a box within a box, but the reason we did that, and the reason I thought of that, is because I mapped out the strategy ahead of time. I mapped it out according to some good tips. Trying to prove a conditional, then do a conditional proof with the left of the arrow at the beginning and the right of the arrow at the end. Then we're trying to prove another conditional, so assume the left of the arrow at the beginning and try to get the right of the arrow at the end, which justifies this conditional. So there you have it. Awesome.